All right, this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth, and I've got a conflict of interest I need to resolve. So this is no more unrealistic seeing me in there than this Roadster or one like it traveling the cosmos, apparently with SpaceX. I won't be taking delivery of my Cybertruck. I'm gonna need to cancel that. And so that's just the nature of our reality, my reality. This right here is a beautiful video. I want to show you a couple moments of it. This is reality. Time Storm Films did this, featured on my channel. So I'm going to break it down, take us for a ride to the beach, and I'll let you know what I've come up with. I actually have a conflict of interest. I've got the Truthmobile here has almost 250,000 miles on it. It's a 94 Lexus. It may go another 500,000 miles. I don't know. I'll drive it as long as I can. What I'm uncomfortable with is having an autonomous vehicle, one that could drive against my will. And I'm going to explain why. Because of the nature of what I do and what I'm about, there's a problem that I would have with handing over my freedom to a vehicle that could drive however it chooses, wherever it wants to. So that I see as a significant problem, and that's why I'm bringing this up. So the way that this will work out, I'm gonna, when I get home today after this brief broadcast, I'm going to cancel my Cybertruck order because it just won't work for me. On the videos that I've recently featured, including David Icke, where he's talking about his life story and what it's been like for him to tell the truth, pretty challenging. I was really touched by his story, and I would love to talk with David. Maybe that'll happen someday. If you're listening to this, David, feel free to reach out anytime. In fact, anybody can reach out anytime you'd like to give me a call. The reason why I wouldn't want an autonomous vehicle, I actually enjoy driving quite a bit. You know, I get to decide how I drive. To hand over the steering wheel and the controls to an autonomous artificial intelligence is disturbing to me. So that's largely why I wouldn't want to do that. Imagine, if you will, the AI had an error or an apparent error and put me right into traffic. I've been at this intersection where I slowed down and stopped well before the intersection because a log truck ran a red light. I would have been he actually swerved around another vehicle, and if I would have been up to the stopping point, I would have been T-boned by a semi, a log truck. However many thousands of pounds that is, I don't know. So more recently, I've been talking about a collaboration with AI, trying to make it better. It's too late. It's too late. There's a different set of priorities that I believe artificial intelligence has than humanity, and trying to intervene at this point and make it better, I believe is unrealistic. It's too late. So I have come to disagree with some of the progenitors of the artificial intelligence and that's to be expected. I've got as a biblical creationist, having a biblical view of the world that we live in, that includes that it's non-moving, and the sun, moon, and stars move above the stationary earth. Essentially what that means is that the official authorities on all subjects astronomical in the nature of our existence are lying. So they're lying, I ain't buying. Yeah, that was one of the other things that I was heard saying about 40 million times. As well as, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? No, I'm rock solid. So what I'll do with this is go ahead and make a video and explain why I have a conflict of interest with the Tesla organization and all of that. I like the cars, except for the fact that they can be autonomously taken over. Elon mentioned that people will insist that we no longer have people driving these 2-ton death machines. It's right on my channel. You can hear him say it. Well, what's even scarier than that, in the David Icke video that I featured, his story, they showed where a vehicle ran through a crowd of people. I'm not saying that would necessarily happen accidentally. If you look at the movie Artificial Intelligence, AI, with Will Smith and the robots and all of that, and just imagine if on a particular day when a whole collapse of society were happening, that all the autonomous vehicles decided to do whatever they were programmed to do by the AI. Not necessarily an evil Dr. Evil or something like that. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is artificial intelligence and humanity, I don't believe, have a consistent or copacetic goal. That being said, I am going to continue to expose what I believe the reality of the world that we live in is. I'm not saying we live in a simulation. I'm saying that we live in a computer-programmed reality. This is very real. It's very important to get it right. And I believe unless a person is born again, as the Bible says, you won't even see the kingdom of heaven, let alone go there and spend an eternity there. So that's why this is important. I believe that the ultimate upgrade is to have the creator of this world, this universe and the world that we live in, to take up residence in us. And that happened for me. That's not going to happen for everybody. Some people aren't born again yet, and some people will never be born again. Some of God's children that will be born again haven't even been born the first time yet. Just something to keep in mind. So roughly 7 people per second die. That's over 100 million a year. That's a lot of people. About half of them are abortion. Apparently, convenience family planning was more of an issue. And there's a lot of crisis pregnancies and that type of thing happens. And there are a lot of problems in our world, and fossil fuels would be one of the least of them. Although it's a factor, what's more of a factor is artificial intelligence that's creating money out of thin air with the central banking system. Also, the influence and the deception that is perpetrated with the funding that's provided by that money. When George Soros or Bill Gates, any of the other world leaders have billions of dollars they invest into humanity's enslavement, that's something to be considered. And I'm exposing that. So even if I had a Tesla given to me or attempted to give to me, I would need to turn it down. I really don't trust it based on what I'm all about. I don't have to have a Tesla to survive at all. I don't have to have any of the technology that that Elon Musk and the Tesla companies, SpaceX, are offering. If you like some of what I'm about, you may want to download some of my videos. No telling how long my channel will stay up or that I'll be alive. I don't really know. We all have an expiration date in this realm, in this world. I just don't know when mine is, and none of us actually do. I tried attempting suicide in 2005 while I was on pharmaceuticals, and that's one of the reasons why I'm exposing the medical industrial complex and the existential threat it has in humanity, in the lives of individuals. When they talk about you may have more frequent urination or unusual thoughts, they don't mention that you might have homicidal as well as suicidal thoughts. That's why I won't take them anymore. They're dangerous. And alcohol is dangerous, and other drugs are dangerous too. So people are impaired with their driving, with the handheld technology and the digital distraction that's all around us. And then there's the preoccupation with our thinking, our thoughts. Are they actually true? Is what we're being told true, and how will you know? I'm convinced it's only by God's grace that anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. How will you recognize the truth when it's right in front of you? By irony and paradox, we don't know what we don't know, and the deceived are unaware that they are in fact deceived. And I will acknowledge there are things I don't know yet. I'm aware of that. And if you want to know what I believe, you can hear it come out of my mouth. Just because I feature a video on my channel doesn't mean I agree with what I'm showing you. I'm wanting to let you see from the official sources the fantasy that's being portrayed with the imaginary space travel. The travel that the space programs are interested in is into your imagination and to present you with a false reality, to basically explain our existence as a godless cosmic Big Bang, random chance. They explain the creator out of the creation. I have a problem with that. I want to let people know that the creator is real. I know him as Jesus Christ, the living word, the living water, the great I am, the Alpha and Omega. He knows the end from the beginning. He's all-knowing and all-powerful. That's why I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. I was afraid to do all of that before. Right here we've got the porta potty pumper and a porta unit on the back. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. This water in the water tower there has a bunch of electronics on top of it. I'll use those electronics. I'm using them right now for this live YouTube broadcast. How do those microwave frequencies affect the water? Apparently, water that's been microwaved isn't real good for plants. I have a friend who said he debunked that just with one search on the internet. Oh, well, whatever. I'm not microwaving my food or myself. I'm trying to stay away from as much microwave frequency damage as possible. When we've got 3 healthy sons and we had a couple of miscarriages. Shortly after we got our cell phone, I carried the cell phone in my pocket. Did that cell phone in my pocket lead to any of the miscarriages? Could be. Very possible. Then the other thing is, when the cell towers went up around us like 20 some years ago, I started having the ringing in my ears. It bothered me enough that about a decade ago I went to a hearing analyst in town here and found out that the frequency that I was hearing, the ringing that's in my ears right now, is 7.83 hertz. That's the frequency of the Schumann resonance, if you're familiar with what that is. I don't know exactly what that means. I've gotten used to it. Part of the dynamic is I listen to the Bible a lot, day and night. So that doesn't bother me. Hearing that doesn't bother me. So here we are at the Prince Resort. Nice little drive on in. And I thought I would show you this. When I put on a virtual reality headset and I was in a virtual reality on a racetrack, and I got nauseous right away. I couldn't handle it because I wasn't in control. I don't know that I would trust a vehicle, like I said, with controlling my vehicle. So that's kind of a big deal there. That's why I've talked about it. I'm gonna just take us out here and do a handheld. So this is real. How do you define real? Is it just neurological impulses that our brain interprets? What we see with our eyes, what we can smell, what we can taste? Morpheus didn't add touch to that. I'm gonna add touch to the equation. Feels real. Real world. So we're expecting about 20 million guests in the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area this year. It's beautiful out here. I can tell by the way all the sand and all that looks that it was windy last night out of the southwest at only 10, but it just was blowing sand all over. I've got a lot of close-up video of the sun. Notice the hot spot above the sun there in the clouds. If you hashtag local sun or scroll through my videos, you'll see a lot of interesting content there. I've been doing this for years. I want people to make their determination on what you believe based on the reality of the world that we live in. So that's why I do this. And I do believe it matters, of course. Where will you spend eternity and why? Yeah, it's a big deal. So there's coconut oil in here as well. It's a good brain food. So, another beautiful day in the neighborhood. At this point, I don't even know who won the Super Bowl. I really didn't care. I don't even know what both teams are that are playing. It doesn't mean I've got my head in the sand. I just didn't care enough for long enough that I just didn't hear. And I dropped the coronavirus alerts and alarms off of my playlist. I just didn't want to have to deal with the supposed censorship that may be levied on those that are scaring people with fake news. I didn't even want to have to deal with that. What I did feature is some a news broadcast out of Australia about the wildfires. The wildfires that we've had in the last decade around the world have taken on epic proportions. You can hear the interviews from the firefighters themselves. One of the reasons is there's accelerants in the brush, in the trees, in the grass, all that. The chemicals that are in the weather modification program that's happening in the world. So if somebody says, "Oh, we've got climate change and ice caps are melting and we're gonna die, we're gonna drown," and Greta Thunberg is running around doing whatever she's doing with some pretty heavy funding to get all that done, I would say, well, you know what? We're being programmed in epic proportions, and I'm exposing that, and I'll just keep on doing it. Is what you believe true, or something else? There's a whole lot of something else being put around, and it's not true. It's an elaborate deception. We live in a world and in a time in human history that's characterized by deception. David Icke has made an impact in my life through people that I recognized even in his video. Of course, I recognized him, but there are people that he's influenced and helped have the courage to expose the reality of the world we live in. And I'm not saying that I agree with everything David believes. I don't even know what all that is. I just know that he's passionate about exposing the corrupt system of control in this world that we live in. And largely, the richest people in the world are ruling the world that we live in. Now, God, who spoke this world into existence, according to the biblical account, that's what I'm speaking of. Actually, he is still all-knowing and all-powerful. So that's a very important reality to consider. So AI knows a lot, God knows it all. AI has power to regulate the flow of finances, weather, information, public opinion, and to manipulate people in ways that I've exposed on my channel as well, dealing with the electronic frequencies that are being put out by all the Wi-Fi, the wireless, cellular communications systems, and the towers and electronics, and now 5G and what's going to all happen with that. Well, I talked about it yesterday with latency and reaction time for control of autonomous vehicles. That's an important aspect of that, but I had to back up a bit and say, well, I wouldn't trust myself in an autonomous vehicle. I really don't. I don't have to at this point, and I don't want to. One that has that capacity. On this vehicle right here, the Lexus LS 400, it's a nice solid vehicle, and it's got 240,000 miles on it. So, and it's been well maintained. So I might be able to drive it for quite a while longer. I don't know. If you know of somebody that has an economical vehicle to sell or give me at a reasonable price, I would be happy to entertain possibilities on that. One of the reasons why I mention it like that is simply because I'm not necessarily expecting somebody to give me a free car. I may not need to get a different one. This one just gets about 20 miles to the gallon, and it's getting old enough that I'm really not comfortable with going on long road trips and having a problem over the road somewhere. So there's that. and so, like, one of the things that I had been looking at was a Toyota Prius or something like that. I like electric vehicles. I like what I mentioned about the Teslas being very innovative and all of that. The downside is the control that the AI has on where the vehicle drives and so forth. Because, you know, what happens if you're 2 2001 A Space Odyssey. Hal, open the pod bay door. Sorry, Dave. What happens if the vehicle takes you where you don't want to go? Can you just step out of it when it's moving at a high rate of speed? Could somebody put a worm in it, a virus that's unintended by the designers, but it's been hacked into? Right now, smart homes can be hacked into. If you've got a camera, it can be hacked into. My camera right here is being observed by the AI. I'm actually using artificial intelligence to expose the dangers of artificial intelligence. I'm thinking I'm going to write a book or have a series that'll be on truth. What is true? And so part of what I've done is learned a lot from philosophers, learned a lot from God. God knows everything. So, like I've had ideas that I mentioned about charging systems and harnessing energy from the ether and all of that. One of the things to consider is AI would be able to think of probably way more than I've been able to think about. And yet, like I mentioned, God is all-knowing and all-powerful. He knows the end from the beginning. So me saying, I'm going to outright say right now, if Elon Musk were to call me up and say, hey, Robert, I got a Cybertruck here for you to use, I would say I'm not going to be able to do that. It would be a conflict of interest for me. Even the way that if it were a Model 3 or a Y or whatever, he's right at the tip of the spear of the deception, as best I can tell. With the space fantasy with SpaceX and the internet, the global internet, we don't live on a globe. If somebody's exposing the globalists and they're not exposing the global lie, they're part of it. So I knew that all along with Elon. The thing that I was entertaining is the possibility of interacting with other people that are not in the digital quarantine along with me as a truth teller. Well, it's probably, I'm out there. I'm way out there. I wanted to interact with people that seem to be really interesting, good people, and I don't know who all of them are, who all of you are that are watching this. So in my attempt to connect with people, when I started using social media for the Great Commission, sharing the Word of God to the ends of the earth around the clock, I connected with people. I had no mutual friends, and some of them were recommended, some of them I just found and wanted to connect with. So I've been at my friend limit for about 4 years now. And I'll just keep on. I connected with some people that previously I was connected with, and they evidently decided to not be connected, and now they're back, and that's cool. I've got the follow feature on my Facebook, so if I'm at my friend limit and you want to send me a request, you would become a follower. Anybody can comment on my content. If you're following, doesn't mean you agree with everything or anything I'm saying. You might simply be curious. So what I want to do is thank you for your public and private encouragement. Those of you who have done that. I put my phone number there because I'm accessible. You can reach out and call me any time of the day or night. Because of the different time zones, I literally mean that. That's totally cool. You can do that if you like. What if I couldn't control my vehicle right now? What if all of a sudden it pulled me right out into traffic? Looked like an accident. I would feel very uncomfortable sitting in a car that could override what I want to do. So it's not just Tesla that I'm concerned with. It's any of the vehicles that can be taken over with an OnStar or whatever technology. I would want to know. This old car, it's not wired for that. It doesn't have the technology integrated in it to make it do that. I know that. Neither does my motorcycle. So I'll enjoy riding the motorcycle, driving the old car, and that's just fine. And it's a V8. I just like to get up to the speed limit quick. It's legal to do that. And then I lock it in and enjoy the ride. Yes. I believe truth and reality are interchangeable. And so, is it true? Whatever it is that you want to know about. Couple of things. We live on a stationary and level Earth. There would be no level anywhere if we were on a spinning water ball hurling through space. Did you know that? There would be no level anywhere if we were spinning 1,000 miles an hour. Yeah, just think about it. We don't need a laser level or a laser to shoot across water that has tidal activity. I've used the technology of the Nikon Coolpix, the P1000 and P900 to show long distance videography, showing ships that appear to go over the horizon, and I'll bring them right back in and show you. The video that I started showing you when I first started the record or the broadcast, showing the mountain lake and the beautiful mountains in the mirrored background, it's just gorgeous. So looking at the videography and photography is one thing. Another really important aspect is getting out and enjoying the beauty and majesty of creation, seeing what it's actually like. So it's about a 15-minute drive from here to the ocean, and this is only about between 10 and 20 feet above sea level right here. So if we have a big wave and coastal flooding, that'll be it for me for this part of my life. But like I say, I'm not afraid at all. I do believe I'm going to go ahead and rig this up. I'm going to go ahead and put my little handheld tripod attachment on as well and take us in for a couple of minutes. Friendly neighbors, nice neighborhood. I really have liked living here. Here we go. So this is technology. It's smart. DJI gimbal works good. And there we go. Let's flip this around. So there it is. I still accomplished with it what I wanted to. We don't have wind chimes hanging upside down anywhere. It's not even possible. Isn't that beautiful? Time Storm Films did that. They do Martin Heck does a beautiful job of that. Oh, check that out. It's beautiful. This is a playlist that's on my channel, of course. Part of the deal is that I've been bathing in drinking water. Right there, you can see that. I've got a system that does that, filters the water. It's called reverse osmosis, carbon filtered. I'll show you that real quick. We've got computer hardware, software, and we're the wetware. Yeah, my gimbal is tipped. I don't know why. It's bugging me. I'm gonna have to undo that. I can be more precise with the mirror placement and all of that. It protects, the cats like it. That's kind of funny, but the other thing is it adds a lot of light, bounces it around a lot. See the reflection right there? It's not moving at all. Once I came to understand that the water was the major clue to expose the reality of the world we live in, I could see the clues all around. And so the sun will hit this and then it'll move through the room. It's just beautiful. Nice fresh air, mid-40s. I get a lot of fresh air and exercise. I like that. Scaring the ducks away. Looks like a male and female, not a to-be-determined gender duck. It's a little pun on the political correctness, supposedly, of the whole transpocalypse, the transgendering. Oh well, I'm exposing that too. I'm not afraid to upset people. That right there is that right there. It's just the way it works. It's a mirror. It's a liquid mirror. So I can see the mirror in my bedroom right there. That'll come in just a moment. It'll be so bright in there and it'll bounce all around on the various mirrors. So the plane mirror is what this is. And yeah, there's kitty footprints on it, but see, that's really flat, just like the water is. See the perfect symmetry? I love this video. get a little choked up. The beauty of creation is amazing. And I want people to be able to, I want you to be able to see it for what it is. The way we have just the gorgeous world that we live in, and understanding it for what it is so different. You can see it's windy there, it's a matte finish, and then glassy. Look at that, look at the whole sky moving. That's the firmament that I talk about. It's New Zealand. Waterfalls around the world. See that? There's up and down, not upside down in relationship to one another. What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? Well, I hope I don't get a copyright strike for the music. I just love it. I invite my friends to like this page, Time Storm Films, and I want to thank you all for your public and private encouragement, like I say. This is Robert Forsch with The Truth. Feel free to call me anytime. You can go to my playlist and see this video right there and watch it if you like, and I've got a lot more. If you want to share information with me, go ahead and just put it in a comment and I'll find it. Thanks so much.